Initial Jinchuriki form.
The red rage that started everything begins with a 12-year-old kid whose eyes turn blood red and claws grow from his fingertips. The initial Jinchuriki form erupts when Naruto can't control his emotions, wrapping him in a crimson chakra shroud that makes him look more demon than human. First seen in the Land of Waves arc during the fight with Haku, this transformation shows its visual markers immediately. His whisker marks widen into deep grooves across his cheeks. His teeth sharpen into fangs that gleam when he snarls. The red chakra shroud creates slit red eyes and extends his nails into claws. Suddenly, he's throwing punches that create shockwaves strong enough to crack stone. But there's a terrifying catch hiding beneath all that raw power. This form is emotionally triggered and reduces Naruto's mental control, making him feral and unpredictable. You can see it in his movements. They're more animal than human, driven by instinct rather than strategy. The power boost is massive. Enhanced strength, speed, and durability let him overpower much larger enemies. His healing factor kicks wounds out of his system faster than they can slow him down. This borrowed strength can turn the tide of any fight. But it comes at the cost of his humanity. What makes this form so disturbing is how it feeds on his worst emotions. The Ninetales takes Naruto's pain and turns it into a weapon that he can't fully control. It's like watching a kid's anger become fuel for something that wants to destroy everything around him. This first taste of borrowed power sets up a pattern that will haunt Naruto for years. Every boost in strength means losing a piece of himself, and things are about to get much worse. One-tailed cloak. The Valley of the End fight changes everything. First seen at the Valley of the End fight with Sasuke, this is where Naruto's desperation to save his friend literally grows a tail. The one-tailed cloak marks the first time the Ninetales' power takes a visible, structured form, instead of just raw energy bursting out of control. You can see the difference immediately. Instead of chaotic red chakra flickering around his body, there's now a distinct tail made of concentrated power trailing behind him. It's like watching formless anger suddenly organize itself into something with purpose and direction. It gave Naruto enough raw power and healing to square off with Sasuke's Curse Seal Stage 2. Their final clash becomes a battle between two kids consumed by dark power, each drawing from sources that want to corrupt them. The chakra boost is massive. Enhanced physical abilities let him throw punches that crater the ground. His healing factor kicks in fast enough to survive attacks that should have ended the fight. But here's the twisted part. Naruto is literally using the demon inside him to try to save his best friend. He's turning his greatest curse into his last hope, like using poison as medicine when nothing else will work. It shows how far Naruto will go to protect someone he loves. Powerful, but still wild and risky. The tail becomes a symbol of love twisted into something dangerous. This form proves that Naruto's greatest strength and weakness are the same thing. But if you think one tail looks disturbing, wait until you see what happens when his body starts trying to contain even more power. Four Tails Transformation. The skeleton beneath the skin reveals itself when Naruto fights Orochimaru. First appears during the Tenchi Bridge arc in Shippuden against Orochimaru, where his chakra doesn't just cover his body anymore, it starts building a skeleton around it. The Four Tails transformation is where the transformations stop looking human and start looking like something that crawled out of a nightmare. The red chakra forms actual bones and tendons around his body, creating a skeletal framework that makes him look like death itself walking the earth. This isn't just a power increase, it's Naruto's body literally trying to accommodate forces that are too big for human flesh to contain. The chakra constructs a ribcage, spine, and limb bones because his actual skeleton can't handle what's flowing through him. The destructive capability jumps to a terrifying level. This form has enough raw power to reshape the environment just by existing. Trees get uprooted by the chakra pressure. The ground cracks beneath his feet. The air itself becomes heavy with malevolent energy. But the real cost becomes clear when you see the aftermath. Burns and internal cellular damage appear during and after the form, covering his skin where the chakra touched him. Blood seeps from wounds that appeared during the transformation. Prolonged use shortens his lifespan and requires Kurama's chakra to heal some of the damage. The skeletal imagery isn't accidental. This is what happens when you borrow power from something that sees your body as just another disposable container. The Ninetales doesn't care if Naruto survives the experience, but even this nightmarish form is just preparation for something far worse. Six Tails form. The point of no return arrives during the Pain Invasion. First appears in the Pain arc around episode 167, triggered after Hinata's apparent death, where Naruto crosses a line he can never uncross. Six tails of pure chakra and a skeletal exoskeleton make him barely recognizable as human. This isn't just another power boost. It's the moment where Naruto's humanity becomes negotiable, something that can be temporarily set aside for the sake of raw power. This transformation is so intense, its power is enough to break Hashirama's seals. That shows just how far beyond normal limits this power reaches. The visual is terrifying. A skeletal monster wrapped in burning chakra that moves with predatory intelligence, but no human conscience. What makes this form truly dangerous isn't just its power. It's how Naruto's humanity becomes almost completely suppressed, with virtually no self-control remaining. You're watching a boy disappear inside his own body, while something else takes the wheel. His friends and allies become potential casualties because the thing wearing his face doesn't recognize the difference between enemy and ally. It's like watching a guard dog that's forgotten who lives in the house it's supposed to protect. The power amplification is massive, but it comes with the very real risk of permanent tailed beast takeover if not stopped. Six Tails represents the point where temporary becomes permanent if you're not careful. This shows the series pattern. More tails, more power, more danger to Naruto himself. The Ninetales isn't just lending power, it's actively trying to take over, using Naruto's desperation as the key to its own freedom. Every tail that grows is another step toward complete possession. But what happens when that borrowed power starts manifesting abilities that were never meant for human bodies? Eight Tails form. The Eight Tails form introduces something new and terrifying. During the Pain arc, Naruto can now spit fire, an ability that signals just how far from human he's traveled. This isn't just another power boost. It's proof that his body is becoming a vessel for abilities that were never meant for mortal use. This transformation creates a chakra maelstrom so intense that reality itself seems to bend around the raw energy being unleashed. The air warps. The ground melts beneath his feet. Everything in the surrounding area gets pulled into the vortex of power radiating from his body. The fire breathing isn't just a cool new ability. It's evidence that Naruto's physiology is changing at a fundamental level. His throat, his lungs, his entire respiratory system, they're all adapting to channel flames that could incinerate steel. Think of it like a house being rewired for electrical current it was never designed to handle. At this point, Naruto nearly loses himself. Only outside intervention keeps him human. Kurama's influence has become so strong that Minato's sealed chakra prevents total transformation. The power level reaches truly frightening heights, capable of overwhelming major sealing techniques. But the cost is equally extreme. Complete loss of self-control and the very real possibility of permanent merger with the beast. This is where external intervention becomes critical. Minato's sealed chakra becomes the only thing standing between Naruto and total loss of identity. Without that lifeline, there's no coming back from this transformation. The form shows there's a limit to how much borrowed power a human can handle before they stop being human altogether. Eight Tails represents the final warning. One more step, and Naruto doesn't just lose control, he loses himself forever. But what if there was a completely different way to find strength? Sage Mode. After losing Jiraiya, Naruto learns Sage Mode at Mount Myoboku after training with Fukasaku and Shima. He uses it in the Pain arc. Instead of borrowing power from the demon inside him, he learns to harness the natural energy of the world itself. This is the first form where discipline replaces rage. The visual changes are subtle but significant. Orange pigmentation appears around his eyes. His pupils become horizontal slits like a toad's. Heightened strength lets him shatter stone with casual strikes. Speed allows him to blur across battlefields. Durability helps him tank hits that would flatten normal ninjas. Dramatic sensory enhancement lets him detect movements and intentions before they happen. Access to senjutsu techniques like frog kata extends his attack range in ways that seem almost supernatural. Boosted ninjutsu and taijutsu power round out the abilities. The key difference is control. Sage Mode requires gathering natural energy through perfect stillness and mental discipline, the exact opposite of the emotional chaos that triggers his other forms. Think of it like tuning a radio. You need complete focus to find the right frequency. Frog Kata lets him hit opponents without actually touching them, using invisible extensions of natural energy to land strikes from impossible distances. But the limitation is brutal. Gathering natural energy requires complete stillness, and the form has short duration unless Naruto uses shadow clones to help maintain it. He relied on shadow clones early to keep the transformation active during combat. This form proves that Naruto doesn't have to choose between power and humanity, but it requires patience and discipline that his other transformations actively discourage. However, even this balanced approach would eventually give way to something that changes everything about how power works. Ninetales Chakra Mode. The golden breakthrough begins when Naruto's mother appears and helps him have an honest conversation with Kurama. Ninetales Chakra Mode 1 first shows up in episode 247, after Naruto's training to control the Ninetales. After an emotional conversation with his mother and training, Naruto gains partial cooperation from Kurama. Suddenly, the red chakra of rage becomes the golden light of cooperation. The visual transformation is stunning. Instead of the demonic red energy that made him look like a monster, Naruto is wrapped in a golden cloak that makes him look more like a divine guardian. The change in color signals a fundamental shift in the source of his power. This form introduces abilities that seem almost supernatural. The golden chakra cloak features Ninetales motifs, chakra arms that extend his reach, negative emotion sensing that reads intentions, enhanced life force effects, and dramatic boost to speed, strength, and durability. He can manipulate life force energy in ways that let him interact with spiritual attacks. The chakra arms he creates can grab and manipulate the environment in impossible ways, extending his reach across entire battlefields. The power boost is enormous, but it comes from cooperation rather than domination. This shows that partnership can be more effective than control. It's like the difference between forcing a machine to work and having it operate smoothly because all the parts fit together perfectly. However, the cooperation isn't perfect yet. Early on, Kurama still could steal chakra, and Naruto couldn't unleash full-tailed beast attacks until their cooperation improved. The golden color isn't just aesthetic, it represents hope, showing that the curse that defined Naruto's childhood might actually become his greatest blessing. This transformation proves that the most powerful changes come not from forcing others to submit, but from finding ways to work together toward common goals. But what happens when that cooperation becomes something even deeper? Kurama Chakra Mode. Trust changes raw rage into controlled, shared power. Kurama Chakra Mode 2 and full cooperation with Kurama are developed in the Fourth Great Ninja War, around episode 329 onwards, where cooperation becomes so complete that the distinction between Naruto and the Ninetales starts to blur in the best possible way. This refined golden form represents the full realization of what partnership can achieve when both parties trust each other completely. The visual improvements are subtle but significant. More pronounced markings appear across his face and body. The golden cloak takes on a fuller, more integrated appearance that reflects the deeper harmony between human and beast. It's like watching two instruments finally play in perfect tune. New abilities emerge from this perfect cooperation. Access to tailed beast balls gives Naruto devastating attacks that can level mountains. He can manifest parts of Kurama's body as needed, creating claws, tails, or even partial fox heads to suit the situation. Naruto can share Kurama's chakra with others to boost them, turning individual strength into collective advantage. Think of it like a battery that can charge other devices without losing its own power. This form requires full trust and cooperative Kurama. Long fights still eat chakra rapidly. One partner doubting the other could collapse the entire transformation. This transformation shows that the highest levels of power require not just cooperation, but complete faith in your partner, even when that partner was once your greatest enemy. Perfect partnership creates abilities that neither individual could achieve alone, proving that some forms of strength can only exist in the space between two trusting souls. But what happens when that trust becomes so complete that the boundaries disappear entirely? Tailed Beast Mode. Tailed Beast Mode appears in the War arc, when Naruto manifests Kurama's full form while cooperating with Kurama. This represents the ultimate expression of trust. Naruto literally becomes Kurama, accessing the full physical form and raw power of the Nine Tails. This isn't just wearing the beast's chakra like a cloak anymore. He transforms into the actual fox, complete with massive size, razor-sharp claws, and burning orange fur. This complete transformation grants access to devastating attacks that can reshape battlefields. Full-power tailed beast balls and giant Razengans become the size of buildings. Colossal techniques seem to break the laws of physics, creating explosions that can be seen from miles away. The sheer scale of destruction becomes almost incomprehensible. The appearance mirrors Kurama's actual body perfectly. 9 massive tails sweep across the landscape. Enormous fangs gleam in a muzzle that could swallow houses whole. Naruto has achieved something unprecedented, maintaining his identity while fully embracing the beast's power. The destructive potential reaches truly frightening levels. This form can cause massive collateral damage to both allies and the surrounding environment. It's like having a living natural disaster that responds to your thoughts and emotions. Earlier in the series, this form risked Naruto's life if Kurama withdrew cooperation. The chakra consumption is enormous, and the danger to allies and environment is extreme. Perfect coordination between Naruto and Kurama becomes essential to avoid burning out completely in the middle of battle. Think of it like 2 people trying to drive the same car. One wrong move crashes everything. It proves Naruto can keep his humanity while using the beast's full power, but only with cooperation. Yet even this incredible partnership would pale next to what happens when divine intervention enters the picture. 6 Paths Sage Mode. 6 Paths Sage Mode arrives in the 4th Great Ninja War after Hagoromo, the Sage of 6 Paths, gifts Naruto part of his power, around episode 378. When Hagoromo Otsutsuki grants his power after Madara extracts Kurama, Naruto transcends mortal limitations and enters the realm of the gods themselves. This isn't just another power boost. It's a complete elevation beyond what human ninja can achieve through training or willpower alone. 6 Paths Sage Mode features distinctive cross-shaped pupils that combine vertical fox slits with horizontal toad slats, creating a visual that's never been seen before. Floating truth-seeking orbs surround his body, capable of nullifying most jutsu and reshaping matter itself. These orbs signal abilities beyond ordinary ninjutsu or chakra manipulation. This form grants powers that seem to bend reality itself. Flight becomes possible, defying gravity like the basic rules of physics don't apply anymore. Light-speed reactions let him respond to attacks like Madara's high-speed techniques. Dimensional sensing allows him to detect invisible clones existing in alternate dimensions. Extreme healing and regeneration push his recovery abilities into godlike territory. The ability to wield all tailed beast chakra simultaneously makes Naruto a living conduit for forces that were meant to be distributed across multiple beings. Think of it like a single electrical outlet trying to power an entire city. His physical augmentation enters territory that can only be described as divine intervention made manifest. But this power is rare, and only granted via Hagoromo's intervention, or by becoming Ten Tails Jinchuriki. The transformation represents a watershed moment where Naruto stops being just a powerful ninja and becomes something approaching a force of nature. Touching divine power proves that there are heights of strength that can't be reached through training or cooperation alone. Sometimes you need intervention from powers beyond mortal understanding. But even divine gifts pale next to what happens when you're willing to burn everything for one final victory. Baryon Mode. Baryon Mode first appears in Boruto episode 216 to 217 during the Ishiki Otsutsuki battle. This represents the final evolution of Naruto's power and the most devastating cost he's ever paid for strength. It fuses Naruto's and Kurama's chakra like a short-lived nuclear reaction, producing immense new power while burning life force. The visual is striking. Spiky hair with fox ear-like tufts frames his face. His whisker marks thicken into deep grooves. The eye pigments intensify beyond anything we've seen before. A cape formed from 9 red chakra tails flows behind him, announcing this form's connection to sacrifice. The abilities are godlike. Nuclear-level power lets him overpower opponents who dominated him seconds earlier. Untraceable speed makes his movements too fast for even Sharingan users with 6 paths power to follow. Life force drainage on contact means touching him literally burns away your lifespan. Perfect combat efficiency turns every movement into maximum impact. But the cost is absolute. Both Naruto and Kurama's life forces burn away with each second of use, making this a literal countdown to death. It forces a blitz-style attack because every second consumes life force. Extended use doesn't just risk exhaustion, it guarantees permanent loss. Kurama ultimately dies as a consequence of this transformation. The partnership that defined Naruto's entire journey gets sacrificed for one final victory. This proves that ultimate power always demands ultimate sacrifice, turning strength itself into a form of self-destruction. Baryon Mode shows that even the strongest bonds have limits. Sometimes protecting what you love means losing the partnership that made that protection possible in the first place. Every transformation in Naruto's journey has been building toward this moment where power and loss become inseparable. That progression reveals the true arc of Naruto's character development. From uncontrolled rage to divine sacrifice, each transformation demands something more precious than the last. First, his sanity, then his health, finally his closest bond. That's the arc. The sequence isn't just power. It's a map of Naruto's growth and the price he pays to protect others. What that means is every transformation is really a transaction, where the currency is always something irreplaceable. If you enjoyed this rundown, like and subscribe, and tell us your favorite Naruto form in the comments.